Ever wanted to go to a metal festival that was chill both in vibes and temperature? Where the ground shakes from pulsating decibels and volcanoes? Where you can see metal bands at 1 a.m. under a bright sun while headbanging with trolls? Well, now you do, and you're on the right video. For how global metal music has become, many metalheads out there are still unaware of how strong the Icelandic metal scene is. You didn't even know there was metal in Iceland until you saw this video pop up, didn't you? Exactly. Which is unfortunate because despite how small this country and its population are, Iceland offers an incredibly passionate and badass metal scene full of dedicated fans, seriously awesome bands, breathtaking nature straight out of a Doom album cover, and now an excellent metal festival. The Sátan Festival is a place where headbangers, metalheads, and even punks can spend the weekend seeing bands while the sun never sets. Where Icelanders get the chance to see bands like Vader, Carcass, and Discharge, while international metalheads get to experience the best of the Icelandic scene. Not only does it have this great festival, but Iceland's landscape and history have inspired metal bands forever. The main city features metal-themed bars and restaurants, and even the former president of the country attends heavy metal festivals. You want to talk about most metal countries out there, Iceland may be small, but it packs a serious punch. I was lucky enough to attend the Sátan Festival this last week, and got to spend a few days in Iceland, meeting the metal people, seeing awesome bands, and I am here to tell you about all of the awesome metal spots you headbangers should check out. This country is a prime spot for metalheads, so strap on your harness to your Norse dragon and sound the horns as we head out to Sátan Fest, and I show you what this fascinating metallic country has to offer. Welcome to the land of ice, fire, and metal. So headbang the like button, stage dive on the subscribe button, and windmill the video to your friends. And if you're a fan of the channel, consider becoming a member. Memberships only cost 99 cents a month, and each one really helps me toward my lifelong goal of creating a life-size Godzilla to invade Canada. And now let's go to Sátan Fest. No, it is not Satan Festival. I am not saying it incorrectly, because as the founder of the festival and the Icelandic savior of metal Gisli Sigmundsson explained,
so there's a story, like a fable, about this troll woman. Thank you. Yes. So she's traveling, trying to get home before sunrise, because as everybody knows, if trolls get in the sun, well, if Icelandic trolls get in the sun, they turn into stone.
I knew that.
It's common knowledge. So she's trying to get home. She's racing against time to beat the sunrise, and to speed up, she drops. She has a stack of hay, so it drops, and that's becomes Sátan. That's a mountain. Haystack. That's a haystack. Yeah. So, and these are mountains on the way, and eventually she doesn't make it home. So that's where the name comes from. So obviously it's a play on words.
I didn't know that it was a mountain until right now.
No, most people didn't. But we figured that this was a fun way to kind of link it to the location.
Yeah.
While also being able to, bring Satan into the mix.
I thought it was funny when I turned the corner, just a big sign that says Satan on the wall.
Yes. But it doesn't say Satan, it says Sátan.
It's true.
What? Yes, a haystack. What's the problem?
Why is everyone freaking out?
We do enjoy the fact that all our international friends they talk about the Sátan Festival. When I'm introduced to people, oh yeah, you're the Satan guy. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I'm the Satan guy.
Yeah, sure, I can be that guy.
So help teach a dumb American how to pronounce it. It's
Sátan.
Sátan.
There you go.
There. All right. It's a haystack festival.
Yes.
As everybody knows, the only way to get to Iceland is by casting a Nordic spell to summon the winged beast of the gods to carry thee across the endless seas. In modern times, this is referred to as booking a flight. Good thing about traveling to this country is there's only one international airport, so no matter where you're coming from in the world, you'll want to get yourself to Keflavik Airport. Kinda hard to get lost on that one. I touched down in the land of my ancestors, and after I informed Customs and Border Patrol that I was there to negotiate our acquisition of Greenland, I was quickly picked up and shuttled off on a 2-hour drive to the town of Stykkisholmur. Say that 5 times fast. The drive there is an incredibly gorgeous, scenic view of the countryside. Driving through Iceland, you see endless mountains, volcanoes, lava fields, fjords, troll battles, dragons, rivers, and waterfalls. It's incredible. Do this drive while playing the Lord of the Rings soundtrack and you might start crying. Once getting to this small town the festival was taking place in, I was invited to a little mixer to meet the team behind the festival. This was a really nice, chill evening, meeting some of the industry people and the man of the weekend, Gisli, a legend in the Icelandic death metal scene. Not only did this man create and organize this festival, but he also will play in 3 of the bands this weekend. This guy can do everything. He is truly the Icelandic savior of metal. I have declared it. After some fun hangs, it was time to retire for the night, which is almost impossible to do here when the sun never sets. This is what we call an Icelandic sunset. It's about 10:30 p.m. It's not going to get any darker. That's right, this is a festival where you can freeze your balls off while wearing sunglasses at 2 a.m. For those unaware, the weather in Iceland can go from really fucking cold to fairly nice to really cold pretty quickly. Metal as fuck! Returning for an awesome summer metal festival! Fuck yeah! God damn, it's fucking cold! Remember what I said about Sátan being chill? Well, that was not just a joke. Here the bands don't start until 4 p.m., giving you plenty of time to feel human again after your degenerate bright night. But this also gives you ample time to explore the wonders of Iceland. Walking around the small island town of Stykkisholmur, you can see beautiful, epic landscapes. There's this lovely hiking path, making you feel like you're standing on the moon. Not far from the festival, there's whale and puffin watching excursions. And of course, if you rent a car, you could pretty much explore the entire country before bands start. Stykkisholmur is a very beautiful, very small town. Right near the venue, there is a grocery store, a pharmacy, a bakery, 2 different burger restaurants, a police station, and that's pretty much it. The festival takes place in this public gymnasium, which is kind of funny to be like, hey kids, Vader's playing here tomorrow. But man, the sound and the production in here was excellent. Very few, if any, sound problems the whole weekend. From top to bottom, this was put on by metal fans for metal fans, with the focus being on everyone having an amazing time. The team behind this festival were passionate, hardworking fans who had all been in the metal scene for decades. And they're not doing this so they can make a ton of money. They're doing it to provide the experience for fellow fans. A fun thing here, before bands every day, the festival featured live panels of industry people discussing different topics relating to metal and artists. These did pretty well, with some interesting talks from musicians giving advice to fans and bands. We even had the former president of Iceland give a talk on preserving Iceland's culture.
I am here to talk about cultural heritage, the Icelandic sagas, literature, and heavy metal.
This dude is a metalhead and even attended Wacken Open Air while he was the president of this country. Imagine going to a festival, watching a death metal band, turning and looking next to you and being like, oh hey, what's up, Biden?
I used to ask my advisors, my friends, okay, why is all this interest in me enjoying heavy metal? What if I just had a passion for symphony? Would that create some waves somewhere? No, they did not think. Now, this is something we really need to think about a bit.
And this festival even somehow managed to scrounge up the worst metal YouTuber on the internet to host 2 live panels. It was really cool of the festival to ask me to do this. I got to do a live interview with organizer Gisli, which you can watch the full thing on my channel right now. And I got to moderate another discussion on how Icelandic metal bands can break out of the country and into foreign markets. These were really fun to do and gave some interesting talks. The crowd seemed to like it. I would love to do more stuff like this. But alright, enough of these pretty landscapes and motivational shit. Let's get to the fucking metal bands. Sátan Fest featured 24 bands this year, with the focus being on the Icelandic acts, but with a nice helping of international badassery on top. International metal acts are scarce in this country, so a festival like this is the perfect opportunity for young metal fans here to see some amazing bands right at home. Shit, for a lot of these people it might be their first concert concert. First band of the festival were Rekavik, winners of the Icelandic Vakken metal battle. They were fun, playing old school speed metal, but something I noticed right away when they started was how happy the Icelanders were to see live bands. Throughout the whole festival, and especially during Vader and Carcass, it was a sea of smiling faces with young and old fans basking in metal glory. The first band I was really into for this festival was Basduth. Hopefully I said that right. An Icelandic supergroup featuring members of Solstafjord, Skalmold, and our one and only Gisli, proving Icelanders know how to fucking grind. Icelandic people fucking love Motorhead. They love crust punk and grindy fast fucking music that makes you want to chug whiskey and punch a hole in the wall. Obviously, my people. I'm not just saying that. That's what a lot of Icelanders told me. There is even a bar in Rekavik called Lemmy. But we will get to that later. Right now, the frozen bastard disciples of Motorhead were tearing the stage up. Since Iceland is so small and its underground metal scene even smaller, the bands and musicians must possess drive and passion for the music. What the country lacks in number of metal bands, it makes up for in number of passionate metal artists who take their craft seriously. You really feel that excitement from the bands and the fans here. Basduth were fucking awesome. And after them, I happened to stumble into this little acoustic jam happening in the lobby. I have no idea who this is, but the crowd seemed to really enjoy it, so hey. In terms of metal, however, up next was Momentum, a heavy, proggy Icelandic band sort of similar to like Gojira. Not bad, not bad. But the band that I was really stoked for this evening was Vader. Vader were my first death metal band. They were the first death metal concert I ever attended, and fuck, man, as soon as they hit the stage, I felt like a 16-year-old discovering death metal all over again. Vader were so fucking good. Their sound was excellent, and the fans were excited as hell. You could tell so many people were having the time of their lives. Vader played a great mix of old and new songs, bringing broken necks and smiling faces to the people. Main man Pietor's thunderous vocals were so fucking epic here, they probably set off some volcanoes. Fucking phenomenal set. So good I had to step out into the midnight sun after to cool off. But this bright night wasn't over yet, because up next on the stage were a band called Brain Police. A groovy, heavy, stoner, metalish band, perfect for fans of stuff like Clutch and Orange Goblin. They were groovy, I dug it, and I liked the mix in genres that this festival had. We got death metal bands, following punk bands, following prog bands, following black metal bands. Everyone's happy. The final band of the first night were the Icelandic death metal legends Sororicide, featuring once again our host Gisli. Old school, grimy, heavy as fuck death metal. They're like Morbid Angel, but even harder to understand. Sororicide got their start 30 years ago, when death metal was new and exciting, and this performance marked their final show as a band. But just because they're bowing out now doesn't mean you can't check out their badass albums, so go support them anyway. These death metal Norsemen kicked serious ass and were a great wrap-up for the first day, and you could tell it meant a lot to the people too, with the band even sharing an emotional goodbye with each other and the audience at the end of the performance.
Strong men also cry.
And after that death metal tearjerker, it was after 1 a.m. and still bright outside. It is so disorienting to be partying, having a great time with friends, wearing sunglasses, only to check the time and see that it's 3 a.m. But for old lame people like me, it was time to check out and get ready for day 2. Day 2 of Sátan Fest began the same way all metal festivals do, with a speech from the former president. You know, normal shit. This dude was amazing. Name me any other ex-president who shows up at a metal festival to hang out and to motivate the crowd.
Eiríkur Rauði. He had a staying spree here nearby and had to leave the country, exiled. And he decided to go out west. And who knows, maybe he thought something like this as he set sail. Odin, guide our ships, our axes, spears and swords. Guide us through storms that whip and in brutal war. Our ships await us by the shore. Time has come to leave our country, family and homes for riches in the east. And you have to substitute that for west, because he said west.
I even got to meet him and chat with him for a moment. What president would lower themselves to meeting a degenerate YouTuber like me? What better way to follow up the president than with Aventgard black metal? Normal Icelandic things. First band I caught today was Altari. Experimental, heavy, atmospheric, like if Gojira were colder. A good band to listen to if you're lost in the Icelandic wilderness. And of course, their heavy epicness was to be followed up by a kick-ass punk band. Much more my style, DYS are a hardcore punk band perfect for fans of stuff like Sick of It All and Madball. The singer was this older Icelandic punk legend who was full of energy, constantly running up to the crowd and getting in the pit. This dude is one of the best frontmen of the festival. I'm pretty sure he was just an actual Viking that happened to find a Black Flag tape one day. Again, the crowd loved it. You could really see how excited the Icelanders get when they get to hear fast, aggressive music. But unlike the sky here, it was about to get much darker with Forodor. Blackened Viking metal, if that's even a genre, I'm just trying to describe their sound. But picture Moon Sorrow, but more brutal in black metal. Less oh and more ah. They were solid as fuck. Remember what I said about Icelandic bands having quality? Perfect example. None of the bands at this festival had shitty local band vibes, but Forodor especially showed quality and power in their performance. Strong recommendation there. Keeping it dark, they were followed by British goth metal band High Parasite, who really brought the melancholy. They saw the 24-hour sunlight and thought, we must remind the Headbangers of sadness and longing. No, I'm making jokes, but they were cool. Fantastic sound, as did everyone here, but the smoothness of their music really shined. Plus, their singer was pretty funny between songs, and I appreciate that. Then from dark sad to dark extreme with black metal band Sinmara, who were sick. You want a Nordic fistful of black metal brutality slammed right in your face? Sinmara are it. It totally badass and epic extreme metal assault that'll make the most pretentious of elitists nod in acceptance. Highly recommend Sinmara, a ferocious blast beat down right before one of the most anticipated bands were to hit the stage, because after Sinmara were the one and only Carcass, performing in Iceland for the second time in their entire career. If a band has ever played Iceland before, the people here tend to remember that and hold high respect for them. So when they return, they are welcomed with so much excitement. Carcass were the main band I heard the most people say made them buy tickets for the festival when they saw they were announced. And it really showed as the people went wild. They definitely had the biggest and loudest crowd with a ton of crowd surfers. And it was at this very moment in the festival where I made a very interesting discovery. With how many people you see crowd surfing here, I noticed that no one was going over the rail in the front like you would normally see. In fact, most of them were being picked up toward the front of the crowd and then carried to the back. And it dawned on me that the Icelanders were crowd surfing backwards. I've never seen this before. I've seen someone get picked up and carried around like as a one-off goof, but I've never seen an entire festival crowd all surfing backwards the whole time. The entire 3-day festival. No one went over the rail at any point. I was totally fascinated by this, and throughout the week I asked several Icelandic musicians about it. So I asked Gisli, the festival organizer of Sátan. I asked the singer for Solstafir. I asked members of a couple of other Icelandic bands, why do Icelanders crowd surf backwards? None of them had even noticed until I pointed it out, and all of them just went... The only theory anyone could come up with is that Icelanders are just such nice people, they automatically assume to do it that way to not bother people. Even during extreme music, they're just great fucking people. Anyway, Carcass were absolutely killer and delivered a show that Icelanders will be talking about for years. And after their grinding brutality, it was time to dance with Iceland's own Vintage Caravan. They were the final band of this bright night, a band I'd never really checked out before, but I really liked them actually. They're just a fun blues rock band with some funky riffs. They were fun, but it was late into the light, so after a couple songs, it was near 1 a.m., I put on my sunglasses and called it a wrap. The final day of every festival is usually the one that hits the hardest, and Sátan was no exception. God damn, the bands on this final day were unbelievable. First band of the day, Forodor, a fairly new, small black metal band from Iceland with only one EP out, who were unfucking believable. This may have been the Icelandic band that impressed me the most on the whole trip. During their whole set, me and the other media people I was with kept looking at each other and just going, holy shit, they're good. Seriously, check out this band Forodor. I give them 5 erupting volcanoes out of 5. They were so damn good, I had to go outside afterward and go on a nice little hike on the edge of town. What a lovely little intermission from blast beats. Then it was time to wrap back around to the venue for a band called Forodor Helvetus, who are basically Icelandic Napalm Death. Needless to say, I fucking loved them. The awesome punk singer from DYS was back, even more extreme than previously on stage. This dude is sick. This band are actually underground legends in Iceland, having been around for a long time. I loved it, loved the energy, loved the insanity, could not understand the lyrics at all, but hey, I can't for Napalm Death either, so it's fine. Awesome set. Following harder to translate Napalm Death was none other than the busiest metalhead in Iceland, festival organizer Gisli back on stage, fronting his other band Beneath. Holy shit, they were fucking good. Man, it's really cool when a festival organizer is actually in not only one good band, but several good bands, and they're not just some shitty generic rock cover band crap. Gisli is an excellent vocalist, frontman, and organizer. Beneath killed it. Go support this band, just crushingly heavy death metal. So brutal I could not tell if the ground was shaking from kick drums or tremors. Such an excellent set. Gisli is the fucking man. And what a way to warm up for the next band hitting the stage, Discharge. Discharge are a very calm house band who write elevator music for old people. No, they are underground hardcore legends and one of the top bands the crowd were the most excited for. It was about to get violent as Icelanders get, which means politely shoving each other. This was the band's first time in the country, so it was a very special moment for the cold punks of the north. This place erupted like a geisha when the band hit the stage, with everybody headbanging, moshing, cheering, and crowd surfing backwards. I'm telling you, man, nobody went over the rail the whole festival. It was crazy. But I'd never in my life imagined I'd see Discharge playing a set in Iceland. And I know this was a very big moment for the people. They totally killed it. Awesome set. After the hardcore legends came the dark brutality of Norwegian black metal band Tauke, who were just as chaotic with even more distortion. I like this type of black metal. Grimy, fast, aggressive. They sound like a motorcycle running over your face in a graveyard. And for those of you asking, yes, they did play the banjo song. It was amazing. A very badass set from the only band who went on late, but as they say, fetta resta. Concluding Tauke's black metal blasphemy, there was only one band left for this festival, Iceland's own Skálmöld, one of the country's biggest metal bands. Viking metal very similar to stuff like Ensiferum and Taurus, but singing in an even harder language. Very fun and melodic, even if you can't understand the words, the melodies are just great. Icelanders turned up for their own too. Being the last band and from Iceland, Skálmöld were treated like royalty, performing to a large, enthusiastic crowd. Skálmöld were very fitting and a traditional way to bring Sátan Festival 2025 to a close. Come morning, it was time for me to hit the road and take an epic trip back to Rekavik. Like I said before, driving across Iceland really feels otherworldly, like something out of a movie, because a lot of movies do film here. Its vast openness, surrounded by epic mountains and oceans, are something all travelers should experience. I've always felt such a connection with this country. Iceland's main city, Rekavik, is such a lovely, nice, and very fun place. I call it a city of side quest, because you can go out for a simple drink, end up chatting with someone, and next thing you know, you've been to 3 different parties and have 10 new friends. Seriously, once I got here, I went straight to the Lebowski bar, where I ended up meeting the drummer of Sororicide fresh from the festival, got invited to hang with him and his friends. They were hanging out with the owner of the bar. It's just that type of place in Reykjavik. It's super fun, super friendly, and super expensive. Everything is expensive here. Every lunch is at least $30. It's kind of like Vegas, except colder and with less hookers. But Reykjavik is also very metal if you know where to look. Largaverga is its main attraction, with tons of shops, restaurants, tourist activities, and a lot of awesome bars. First one I will recommend is the one I already mentioned, Lebowski's. This is a bar and grill themed off of The Big Lebowski. The bar has a rug around it. They serve White Russians. They play classic films in the diner, and on weekends they have dance parties. Plus they have very good burgers. If you're craving an American-style burger, Lebowski's is your spot. My next recommendation for Headbangers in Reykjavik is the Dylan Whiskey Bar. This is a more laid-back, old-school pub vibe with plenty of drink options, and it features a beer garden for those very rare sunny days. Plus they do have rock bands playing. One time I was in this bar by myself and Bam Margera walked in. Iceland be like that sometimes. You'll spot a random celebrity somewhere, just chilling, nobody bothering them. You're like, huh. It is such a peaceful, calm city. So much so that it even has a couple of famous cats that visit the various shops around the city. This country is full of metal and cats. What more do you want? You can always find some type of artist performing somewhere on this street. And another recommendation for you headbangers is my new favorite discovery, Lemmy. I had no idea this was even a thing. They have food, beer, and good times here at Lemmy. Lemmy is a bar in downtown Reykjavik that's themed off Motorhead. They have Motorhead and Lemmy collectible stuff everywhere. They're playing rock and metal music all the time, a ton of beer options, a nice lounge area, and bomb-ass food. Try the waffle at Lemmy. Oh my god, I swear to you, best diabetes of your life. God, I love Iceland. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and soon I was shipped back to the airport, flown into the sky, waving goodbye to Iceland as I returned home. I was so impressed with this little festival and the pure passion and joy that went into it. I mean, when the founder of the festival performs in 3 of the bands, all of them being great, you know it's the real deal. Nothing about this festival was a money grab. Just Iceland's exchange rate, but that's not their fault. The entire weekend, while this man was performing and running the ship, he was always making sure everyone, from the fans and the bands, were having an amazing time. The sound and production quality was fantastic. Every band played for at least 40 minutes, there were no clashes, and being in such a small area, everything was nearby. You could very easily walk to the grocery store and back between bands without missing anything. Plus, this festival is the perfect excuse for metalheads to visit Iceland. With bands starting late, you could plan a day of adventures in the area. You could go whale watching, or hiking, or kayaking, horseback riding, look for elves to hook up with, and all of the incredible sights this country has to offer, and then come back in the evening to bang your fucking head. That said, there are some minor challenges that the festival faces. I wouldn't say that they're like problems or errors or anything. It's not like the festival did these things wrong, but they're things that will have to be worked around in order for the festival to continue to grow and be successful. One issue that I do want to point out is that the town Stykkisholmur is 2 hours away from the main city and about 2.5 hours from the airport. And as of now, the festival does not offer a shuttle service for fans, so you would be on your own to get there. I would say renting a car is your best option. That way you get to explore at your own leisure. Or better yet, rent a camper van. That would be your best option. You got transportation and a place to stay covered, and you're free to go around Iceland as you wish. That is a fantastic idea. But other than those, you'll be left to taking a bus from Reykjavik, so it's definitely possible for fans to reach it, but it is just a little out of the way and difficult for people who aren't familiar. Should the festival grow bigger, maybe they could look into a personal shuttle deal from the airport and Reykjavik to the festival and back. I understand not super affordable at the moment. This is only the 2nd year of the festival, but it is something I think would be a great idea. Another issue to mention is that the festival location is a bit scarce when it comes to places to stay. There is the Foss Hotel right behind the venue, which is the best bet, the campground where you're welcome to set up as you like, and then there's a handful of Airbnbs in town, but that's pretty much it. The camp area does have plenty of room for now, but camping outside in Iceland probably doesn't sound great to many foreigners. I think it would be a great idea if the festival could look into some temporary pop-up spaces for people to rent. Like a Festi hut or rentable trailers, some type of pop-up thing. Something along those lines would be a really good way for the festival to make some extra money while providing more space for people to stay and solve a problem for visitors. One other recommendation would be some more food options. I want to give the Sátan Festival a huge, massive credit for having their own barbecue available right outside the festival, because if that wasn't there, they would literally be nothing to eat for hours. Pretty much all the food places in town closed at like 7 or 8 p.m. Festival ended at 1 a.m. Exactly. So 2 massive thumbs up to the festival for already thinking of that. But if they could just grow that, maybe add some food vendors, that could be a big benefit as well. All of these recommendations are things that I would like to see implemented over time. I'm not expecting all this stuff to be there next year. I completely understand finances and putting on a small festival like this. But should the festival be successful and continue to grow, which I really hope that it does, I think these would be great benefits. And perhaps if any of the metal bars in Reykjavik I mentioned would be interested in some cross-promotion with the festival, I think that could be a great, easy way to help grow the Icelandic metal scene. All of that said, I am so happy this festival exists. It is the perfect excuse for Icelanders to see bands they never would have got to, and it's the perfect excuse for foreign metalheads to visit one of my favorite countries, and one of extreme metal's hidden treasure troves. If this festival continues while staying true to itself, it'll easily become one of my new regular destinations. A huge, massive thank you to Gisli Sigmundsson and the entire Sátan team for showing me such incredible hospitality and great times. And thank you to my ancestors for being from such a cool fucking country. All metalheads should check out Iceland. It has epic scenery, great for travelers, and an amazing metal scene. Tickets for Sátan Festival 2026 are available now, and I hope to see you all there. For more from me, check out my band Dark Insanity. You can find us on Instagram, on Spotify, on all of the streaming platforms, on Bandcamp as well. We have our EP Rabid Psychosis out now. This October, we are playing with Carnivore AD at the Whiskey A Go Go in Hollywood, October 16th. Tickets are $25, so hit me or the band up if you'd like one. We've got Wyatt's Metal and Dark Insanity merch available now in my shop. We've also got hoodies, hats, buttons, stickers. We even have Dark Insanity weed bags. Link is in the description of this video. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.